What is going on, friends? It's your main man Murder here to preview the new Pan-Asian Tier 7 destroyer, Hsienyang. This American Gleaves class destroyer was given to the Republic of China, aka Taiwan, in 1955 to help prevent the spread of communism in Asia post-World War II. In this video, I will go through a quick build suggestion and then jump into some gameplay featuring two very different play styles designed to give you an unfair advantage out there on the seas. I've also included a few tips to improve your overall destroyer play, so make sure you digest those as well. We're going to start here quickly in the overview tab to point out this is a Gleaves class destroyer at heart. So when you're thinking about your builds, make sure you're treating this kind of as a Fletcher or Benson when it comes to gun caliber, turret traverse, and body style. The modification in slot 1 with aiming systems, slot 2 propulsion, that's so I can move forward and backwards as quickly as possible while I'm operating from within my smokescreen. Slot 3 concealment systems, and in slot 4 I chose to enhance the main battery reload time. The Hsienyang does not have the upper hand against too many Tier 7 and Legendary destroyers, so when you're bringing the ship into battle, you're going to want to do everything you can to assist its guns, because you can't torp any other destroyers. So you're relying exclusively on these guns to win gun battles against ships that often have the upper hand. The Hsienyang is the first Tier 7 destroyer with radar, 7.5 kilometer radius, and a 15-second consumable duration. You do get 2 of them. I wouldn't recommend using the radar unless you're playing in a division with other destroyers or you're a really good destroyer player. Smoke generator is normally the way to go. It's got great smokes. These might be my favorite smokes out of any destroyer class. You get 4 of them, just like all the other ships in this tech tree line, and you can stretch them out real far. They're fantastic. Of course, it has the deep water torpedoes, 9-kilometer range, about 15,000 max damage. Not the fastest at 60 knots, but they get the job done. So I'm running Sims as an inspiration, which is going to boost the overall HP pool on the ship, and it's still below average. Artillery-wise, kind of same thing, below average. If you're familiar with the Loyang, it's got the exact same guns as Loyang. Think of it as a Fletcher with one less gun. Obviously, horrible fire setting chances. Don't do a whole lot of things to battleships. Torpedoes, again, those deep running torpedoes have a 0.6 kilometer torpedo detectability range. These things are awesome when you can get through that wave of destroyers in front of you and start putting these on battleships and cruisers behind them. You can have a lot of fun with these torpedoes. AA defense is just kind of so-so. It'll get you out of a jam. It can definitely shoot some planes down, but it's not gonna, you're not gonna go looking for trouble with it. Maneuverability, decent speed. I think it tops out at about 39 to 40 knots. And concealment, I'm running a bay build, so I got it at 5.4 kilometers. Base trait with Jiangbing. Minimum ricochet angle of your AP shells. This is an incredible base trait that I plan on doing some video features to use this as an inspiration on some other ships, but it's great to have on the Hsienyang. For this build, I'm using Observant Range in skill slot 1, again, enhancing the reload time of those guns. Look at me now, getting my detectability down to a respectable level. In slot 3, I'm running Perceptive, far more valuable than Twist and Track. Make sure you're running Perceptive, give you a little bit of a buff on incoming damage. Knuckle Duster, this is this guy's special skill. It reduces detectability of your torpedoes, and it also increases the chance of those torpedoes damaging ship modules, which is really cool. They already do that, this just makes them do it even better. Of course, Unstoppable in my legendary slot, gotta run Unstoppable. If you're not running Unstoppable on your destroyers, you are just asking for it, especially at tier 7. Inspirations, of course, running Sims to get a little bit more health on this bad girl. And then, of course, Bay to reduce my detectability. Not the most exotic build by any means, but I wanted to give you guys something practical with Commander Inspirations that you guys already probably have ranked up pretty high. So let's get her out on the water. Here we are on Greece. We have 3 enemy Hsienyang's with sonar and 1 Abermarl over there with a radar. I spawned here on the right flank, which means it's my responsibility as the destroyer over here to screen for destroyers, torpedoes, and also to spot for the cruisers that are coming in behind me. Now I'm going to highlight 2 things that I'm doing here. The first, I open up the large map often at the beginning of a match so I can very easily see the speed of my friendly ships as well as the positions that it looks like they're trying to take. That's going to help me understand where I have support and where I don't. If they're going to go sit behind an island, I know that I can't rely on them to help fire on a friendly ship. The other thing that I do is I identify what ships are taking this flank with me. In this case, it's 2 Japanese cruisers. They're going to behave differently than an Edinburgh or a Baltimore, which is going to most likely go nose in and play a little bit more aggressively off the bat. Now, I've identified a destroyer coming in here with my RPF, which is pretty normal. Normally, I'm going to run into a destroyer here. So I double check my mini-map, and I make sure that the cruisers behind me are going to have shooting lines on this destroyer as I spot him. So notice my RPF, it picks him up right here. I was expecting this, and it's a Hsienyang. So my job here, when I'm engaging a Hsienyang, number 1, I want to get him to fire at me, because that's going to keep him lit up for a minute. Now, I also have an Ochakov over on this flank that's radaring him, so I can pop my smoke. All I have to do is help burn him down and make sure that I stay out of that Hsienyang sonar range, which, as we all know, is 5.4 kilometers. So I stay right on the outer edge of 5.4K and take him out. Pretty simple. I was planning for Hsienyang. I got Hsienyang. We killed Hsienyang. Who's next? So I've got a choice to make here. Am I going to push into the sea cap, or am I going to go support Bravo? I'm going to double down and try to do both. There was a Gneisenau that's on the other side of this smoke screen over here. I'm going to go ahead and drop both my racks of torpedoes in on this RPF line and maybe score a lucky hit with him, at least defer him from pushing around. We've got a friendly Friesland that's just contesting that cap right now. Maybe I'll hit the Gneisenau with these. We'll see. What ends up actually happening here is one of those Hsienyang's spots me for a brief moment right here. And those torpedoes I just fired probably just went right underneath them. So they're not going to have any success hitting the Gneisenau. I don't have any smoke. I can't push in there. So I'm going to head over here since this Martel is not taking a very aggressive position on this sea cap, nor is this battleship way the heck back there. So if they don't care about it, I'm going to go ahead and take this sea cap while the Charles Martel retreats behind this island over here. So as a destroyer player, you need to be considering where you can make the most impact on the battlefield. In this case, I've got 3 cruisers behind me, friendly cruisers, that are engaged with 1 cruiser and 1 battleship, 1 retreating battleship on this side of the map. So once I take this sea cap here, I don't want to waste a lot of time monkeying around in places where I don't have a battle advantage. So what I will do is pop a smoke here so that my 2 cruisers can push up. Maybe get a couple little cheap shots on this Martel, get him thinking about me instead of my friendlies. And then once this smoke deploys, I'm going to start spotting for my friendlies. If this Martel, who's most likely going to stay behind this island here based on his previous behaviors, if he doesn't though, I can drop some torpedoes on the other side of it. I'm going to keep this Vanguard spotted up. I'm going to keep this Gneisenau over here spotted up for my team. Drop these torpedoes for Martel. But that smoke I dropped back there was a great way to be very effectively deploying smoke in the Hsienyang. Now here that Hsienyang pops out. I'm going to go ahead and bring him down to Chinatown. Forgive the Pan-Asian pun. The Martel ended up retreating again back behind the island. Surprise, surprise. But my friendlies have got him covered. So I'm going to keep moving to the middle of the map because we've got another destroyer to find here, folks. And I'm not going to be happy until we get him located. But we got a little Gneisenau problem. He's coming around this island here with a full head of steam. And this is going to be a great place to showcase the AP damage that the Hsienyang can do at short range. So if you'll notice my aiming reticle, I've got it on the just above the deck line. I'm trying to get this AP to start smacking this Gneisenau right into his superstructure there, and it chunks him real nice and hard. He tried to drop his torpedoes in there, but because I have the agility of that propulsion mod, I can move forward and backwards in my smoke very effectively. At this point, I'm now taking the B-cap. My friendly cruisers that were behind me went ahead and took care of that Charles Martel back there. So now all I have to do is finish taking this cap and then identify on the mini-map where the final threats are. There is still this Hsienyang out there that I want to find, and watch very closely how my RPF switches right here from Vanguard to this Hsienyang that's not spotted. So I mark on the map for my friendlies to know where that destroyer's coming. And I'm going to drop a few of those deep water torpedoes on Vanguard. Now here's Hsienyang. Perfect. We're both full health, but I have more support because I have more teammates in the area. Now you'll notice again, I'm paying very close attention of my proximity to him. It's okay if I lose sight, but I'm not going to get within his sonar spotting range. Here's a problem for me though. I got to smoke up because that Suzuya is going to make short work of me if I just stay there and let her bang away on me with the HE powerhouse that she is. Now you'll notice that just a moment ago I had 2 torp hits on that Vanguard, so now that my teammates have finished her off, we are back to port with a very easy victory. So that's the Hsienyang with the smoke build. If you're playing solo, I highly recommend that you go that route. There are so many things that can happen in Tier 7 and Legendary games that are going to get you in a lot of trouble, and having that smoke to bail yourself out, to bail your teammates out, is crucial. The Hsienyang isn't fast enough to do fantastic sort of things without smoke. Her guns are also not overpowering enough to get you out of a jam if you don't have smoke. So I highly recommend, unless you're playing in a division with another destroyer that has smoke screens, to go with the build that has smoke as opposed to radar. These smoke screens are also probably my favorite in the game. They're very versatile, and you've had a chance to experience using them as you've climbed up this tech tree. But 4 smokes that you can stretch out over long areas that last about a minute, fantastic smokes. But I'm going to jump into a game here now that features the Hsienyang using the radar. So as I've mentioned a few times now, I do not recommend running this ship with radar unless you have another destroyer with you in division. Now, in this case, I have the world famous K-Sting of Terror Tactics, and I also have Galaxy Wolf, also from Terror Tactics, in my division. We are on the right flank of 2 brothers, and I want you to notice the position that I take up right behind this Hsienyang here. I almost didn't want to show you guys this gameplay footage because it's so beasty. This is really just a powerful way to run 2 destroyers in division together, and you're going to see why here in just a moment. So the Hsienyang in front of me is running smoke and sonar as we aggressively push into the cap area here. Now, because there's 4 enemy destroyers, we know that there's a really good chance that at least 2 of them are over here on our side. So we're in here to bully. My Hsienyang's got a sonar, I'm holding a radar, and here we go. Here's a Benham showing himself. My friendly Hsienyang has popped his sonar, and we're going to take a few cracks at him here. And he moves out of that sonar range. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the radar to finish him off. Also spotting the enemy Hsienyang that's over in the northeast corner of the Delta Cap. He's feeling the heat of that radar. He has to push off a little ways. We lose him for a second, but now that I've got him located on RPF, I can start aggressively moving towards him. Now I'm going to learn here in just a moment that this guy is running triple concealment. Look at his detectability was at 4.7 kilometers, which means he was running Hsienyang, who is the new Pan-Asian commander, whose base trait gives you a decrease in your detectability. And then he's also, as inspirations, using both Bay and Swirsky to get his detectability all the way down to 4.7 kilometers. But it doesn't really matter, because I'm gonna pursue him here aggressively with some support. And because I've quickly deduced that he's running that triple concealment build, I now know that he's not running Sims as an inspiration, which means I'm gonna have a lot more health than he does. And because I know that his guns and my guns are roughly the same, I've got an advantage here as long as I can keep him isolated and away from any supporting fire that he might receive. So here he is. I know he's already popped his sonar, so he doesn't have that. I can quickly push through this smoke, and I'm 20 seconds away from having him in radar range. Again, I'm in attack mode, he's in defend mode. I'm going to move through his smoke. As soon as this radar becomes available, I'm going to pop it. This is such a great spot because I popped it while I'm in his smoke, and I can just quickly take him down. He doesn't stand a chance here. So a great way to really utilize two radar opportunities very early in a match to completely decimate a flank. Now that that's happened, look at the scoreboard. They have 3 ships left. We have 7. I've already killed 2 destroyers with the help of some amazing teammates. And we can just push over to the other side of the map and take care of business over there. So here's some final thoughts on the Hsienyang. It doesn't have an incredible HP pool to compete against legendary tier destroyers, except for maybe the Shimakaze. The guns as well are just okay. So be really mindful about how you're selecting engagements with other destroyers. Once you get through that initial engagement with an enemy destroyer, you'll have free reign to get to the bigger ships on the enemy team and really start to deal some damage with those deep water torpedoes. But getting past the destroyers initially is a bit of a challenge. It's a puzzle that you'll have to figure out. But once you do, there's an amazing reward awaiting for you on the other side. Because these deep water torpedoes with that extremely low detectability, even though they move slowly, good lord, do they just wreck battleships. So friends, that's the Hsienyang. If you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, feel free to drop those in the comments section below. As always, I thank you tremendously for everybody that's hit subscribe. And when you subscribe, you will be alerted to when I stream. And I'm live streaming usually 3 or 4 nights a week. Would love to have you stop by and chat with myself and our merry band of misfits live. But if I don't see you on the stream, I'll see you on the seas. Murder out!